Hey folks, update time again. Friday, April 1st. I mentioned in my last update that we had that major storm that was supposed to cover the entire US and parts of Canada. Well, this is a special weather statement we got from it. Freezing rain and significant rainfall possible Wednesday. Freezing rain with ice accretion of 2 to 4 millimeters. Strong easterly winds gusting up to 70 kilometers per hour. Rainfall amounts of 10 to 25 millimeters may lead to localized flooding, local power outages, and icy roads after midnight tonight into Wednesday evening. The freezing rain or rain is expected to start after midnight tonight, and temperatures are expected to be near the freezing mark, so there remains uncertainty at this time regarding the amount of freezing rain. Freezing rain will change to rain by early Wednesday afternoon as temperatures rise above the freezing mark. In addition, strong easterly winds will increase the possibility of local power outages. Rainfall amounts 10 to 25 millimeters are also possible, particularly for areas which remain above the freezing mark. Partially frozen ground may have a reduced ability to absorb this rainfall, and localized flooding may be possible. Yeah. Still waiting for the garage to dry out. That's not going to help any. So at the time, it was 3 degrees Celsius. And you notice there, heavy snow, ice, flood threat looms. So take a look at the radar, and it's already approaching. So when I zoom out, you can see down in the southern U.S., that is what spawned the 40 tornadoes or more. 40 is the last count that I heard as it moved across the country. It was like Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi. I think those were the 3 states that got hit by it that, severely. So it wasn't a nice thing. As for us, we mostly got rain. But we did get a bit of freezing rain. The next morning, was it morning? Yeah, I think it was morning when I went out, or it could have been afternoon. I don't remember. But the next day, the sun was out, and you can't really see it all that well in video, but the trees were silver. They had a coating of ice on them, and the sun glistening off them. It made them look silver. It was really, really nice. It would have been nice if the sun stayed out longer than it did. But the temperature above freezing, it was starting to melt, and the trees were dropping little ice chunks on me. That was crazy. So on this day, I did my first trip down the trail. Most of it's thawed out now. There was one muddy spot that I got to. As soon as I started going through it, the monster started slowing down. I was like, oh, but I made it through okay. But I didn't do the entire trail. It was pretty spongy to begin with. It took a lot of battery power to push through that. And at the far end of the trail, it still had ice. My trans rod just derailed. I couldn't go through it anyways. It wasn't open enough. There wasn't enough melted on it yet. So I chose to skip that part, because in order to go around the ice that was still on the trail, I would have had to go into the grass, and that's where the soft spot was. And I didn't want to get stuck in any mud, so I just kind of skipped that part. So so the next morning, I went out for my early morning tour. I'm not sure what I was trying to say there. I went out that next morning, and it was still raining at that point, but it was a nice trip. And I stopped down at the dam, and as usual, went for a walk. But I left the monster underneath the overhang, a little, whatever you want to call it, pavilion or whatever. And I left the lights on, which I normally do. So I'm out walking around, and I'm heading back towards the monster, and I see the lights flickering. I'm like, what the heck? So if you watch the video, you'll actually see it. You can't see the monster's lights itself, but you can see them reflecting off the post. And you can see them getting dim, bright and dim. and the monster goes into error code 7. So I get there and I noticed, it's in the error mode. So I'm thinking, oh, wonderful. So to reset, turn the monster off, turn it back on, that gets rid of the error. And I turn the monster off and the lights are still on. They're still flickering. Or I take the key out, the lights are still on. Huh? Well, what the heck? That kind of freaked me out. I have no idea what caused it. I can't comprehend what would cause that. What would energize the lights without the monster's power being on. I just couldn't figure it out. But I started driving and it's still, the lights are still kind of flickering a bit, but it's not affecting the operation of the monster. I can still drive it okay. That's just the lights were weird. So I got home, took the camera off the monster, and I was going to record it, and just as I started recording it, stopped doing it. It just, the lights just kind of faded out, and that was it. That episode was over. I have no idea what that was. I don't even know what to check. At least not yet. So at this point, I'm thinking error code 7 that I've been getting might not be related to that plug that melts. It could actually be something else. So I'm thinking, well, yeah, everything goes through the controller. Now, when I turn the key on it, it powers the controller. But the battery supply itself is connected to the controller. So if the controller itself has an issue, it's going to energize the lights whether the key's on or not, right? That's the only thing I can think of. So if I can't figure out what the issue is, I might have to put my old controller back in. Which is no problem. I mean, that controller still works. It's just got bad terminals from, that first melted plug. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So the next day, I went out again, and I went down the trail again. I kind of avoided that mud spot. Took kind of a wider path around it. I should have known that anyways. And I did the longest trip that I've done so far. But unfortunately, it might be the longest trip I'll be able to do for a while. And I'll have to explain that in the next video. Because the cause of that, I can't cover in this video. There just isn't going to be enough time. So that will be in the next video. Yeah. So I went to bed that night, and sometime after midnight, I kind of woke up. I saw a light flash. I ignored it, and then I saw it again. So I opened my eyes, and I looked at where I had the scanner. It's on a shelf beside the window. It's above where I'm sleeping. And I look up, and the scanner's lit up. So something's being broadcast. I'm not hearing it. So I immediately look over at my computer. The monitor's off, but the computer's on. I'm thinking, what the heck? So I unplug the scanner so I can hear what it's saying. And the first thing I hear is Car 2 telling the dispatcher that it looks like the entire town of Wingham is experiencing a brownout. And I don't remember what I was going to say there. So I'm thinking, oh, wonderful. So I kind of sit up and I try to turn the computer off because the light's still on. The power light, the power switch itself has a light on it. When the computer's on, that light's on. That light was on, but the computer's not. So I push the button, try to either turn it off or turn it on, whatever state that it's in, and nothing changes. Nothing's happening. So I put my light underneath my monitor. The monitor light's flashing. So it's on, but it's not showing anything. Like, what the heck? But I turned my light on. I got a USB light that I have beside me, kind of like the one I have sitting here. It's a ring light. And it's powered by USB. It's on. It works. So, okay, that's interesting. So I figure, okay, well, maybe because the brownout, the computer's kind of locked up, froze up or whatever. So I turn off my main power bar, and of course everything goes dark. Whoops. Turn it back on. tried my bedroom light, my main overhead bedroom light. It's not working. So I come back and turn my USB light on. It still works. It works whether the computer's on or off. I try to turn the computer on and nothing's happening. My hard drives are running. I can hear them spinning away. The lights are on, but nothing's happening. So the fire department was responding to a smoke detector going off, and while I'm listening to all this, I started recording, just, for whatever's happening. At that time, I didn't know exactly what it was that they were responding to, because I missed the beginning of the call. So I get my voice recorder out, and I start recording the scanner. And then they get a second call. So I can't do anything, because like I say, even my lights wouldn't work, my overhead light, and I can't leave. One of my hard drives started screaming, so I had to turn the power bar off again and leave it off. I wasn't going to leave it on and cause damage to something, so I had to turn it off, which means I have no light now. So I decided, well, I gotta go for a drive. I'm up an hour or two earlier than I normally am, but that's a good time to go for a drive. So it was really weird, because half the lights in the house would work and half wouldn't. It was very strange, and they were really dim. So it was kind of odd. And the only computer that would work was Michelle's. Of course, hers is a laptop, running on battery. So once the battery dies, she's done with that. But there's no internet because the modem's not working. That was weird. So I'm heading out to the garage, and I'm thinking, I wonder, because my lights are on the remote switch, which I turn on and off with my keychain here. I wonder if it'll work. So I'm walking out to the garage and I'm pushing the button. I'm not seeing it, because normally as soon as I walk out of the house, I push the button, I can see the light come on in the window here. So I come out, and apparently they came on. My garage lights are rope lights. I have two rope lights. They squirrel back and forth across the garage, and one is plugged into the other, so they're end to end. One was on, one was off. And the one that was on was barely on, just basically enough to see it. Yeah. I couldn't figure that one out. That was just weird. So, thinking, okay, well, I pull out, and most of the street lights are still on, but they're really dim. Best way I can describe it is, if you've ever seen a solar eclipse where the sun gets blocked, the sun's still shining, but everything's really dim. It's kind of a surreal appearance. You can imagine that at night with the streetlights. It's kind of the same thing. The lights were on, but it was really, really dim. And some of them were flashing. It was kind of cool, actually. So I went straight down the dam, and I sat there, took a break for a bit, and the fire department got another call. It was their third call. I got the second call before I went out. So shortly after I started recording, that's when they got their second call. So I'm sitting down at the dam, and I heard the third call, and I know the fire trucks will be going by that way, because they were back at the hall after their second call had finished. So I knew they'd be coming by. So I went over to the beer store parking lot, sat there and watched trucks go by. Well, I watched one truck. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I didn't notice the car 2 was responding as well. So yeah, 2 trucks. And I went for a drive. I went by the laundromat. The laundromat's open 24 hours, and it's got fluorescent lights in there. Those fluorescent lights were flashing individually, independent of each other, at random. It looked like there was a disco party inside. It was really, really strange. And the traffic lights, none of them were actually working. They were in flash mode, but they were dim. And I had a couple that you could barely even see them. They were so dim. So then I got to one one intersection and you could barely even see it. It was so dim you could barely even see them. And I drive by Micro H and they're flashing as well. So I'm heading down to Timmy's. I'm hoping Timmy's is open. The traffic lights at that intersection are on, so I'm hoping that means, on and functional. So I'm hoping that means Timmy's is working. So on my way there, I get a call from Cody. Apparently, Cody heard about it on the news already, which was kind of weird. And he told me that in situations like that, it's recommended that you turn your main house breaker off, so nothing gets damaged or something. I can't remember. You get something that's high current or whatever. It's trying to draw current and it can't draw. It can overheat the wires or something and cause a fire. So that's what's recommended. You turn your main house breaker off. So I asked him about the smoke detectors. He had 3 calls for smoke detectors going off from this brownout. Now, I'm guessing if they're detecting this power failure, then they must be using the house current. And I know they make those because I remember my grandmother's house when I was visiting her over the river and through the woods. And the washroom is upstairs. So I go upstairs and turn to come back down the stairs. Above the stairs, there's the smoke detector, and it's plugged into an outlet. Well, I thought that was the strangest thing. I was thinking, well, what happens if you have a power issue, something shorts out, which knocks the power out and causes a fire? Your smoke detector's not going to go off, right? But I don't know if it's kept charged by it or whatever, and I don't know. Maybe it detects the power failure and that's what sets them off. I don't know, but they had 3 calls for smoke detectors going off from this brownout. So I'm guessing those people have line-powered smoke detectors. I'm guessing. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I don't know if I would want to trust them. But if they make them, they have to be certified, right? So I got down to Timmy's. I turned into Value Mart's parking lot, and I didn't go any farther because their sign outside was off. So I'm thinking, well, if their sign's off, that means they're probably not open. So I turned around, went back uptown, sat across from the laundromat, and got more video of the disco party inside. And on my way up there, I see one of the traffic lights. That traffic light that was really dim is now completely off. So I'm thinking, the power is even lower now. Not enough to keep them going. I sat there for a bit, and it started raining again, so I switched cameras. And I decided to go back to Timmy's again, and this time I'm actually going to check to see if they're open. So I got there, and I wasn't going to try the drive-through. So I pulled up in front, and I could see the bar going across between the 2 doors, so I know the doors were locked. There were people in there, the lights were on, and there's 2 girls standing there talking, so they had power, but apparently not enough to run their equipment. So I was thinking, crap. No Timmy's tonight. So I went one more trip down through town. I sat down, or did I sit down at the dam? No, I don't think I stopped. I just passed the dam. And came straight home. Well, when I got back here, I decided to test my outlet here to see what the voltage actually was, and I turned the light on. Surprisingly, my my LED strip lights actually came on. So there was enough power to run the 12-volt circuit that powers these lights. So they came on. That was kind of cool. It gave me a little bit of light to see what I was doing. So I plugged my multi-tester into the outlet, and I got averaged about 36.6 volts. It was fluctuating between 36.2 and 36.8. That's like 1/3 of what we should have. Because it should be between 110 and 120 volts. 30. No wonder nothing was working properly. I'm surprised anything was working that low. I was just like, wow. So as for how long I talk about this time, like I say, I've got so much. I can't talk about it all in one video, so I'll split it. This is the night that I discovered our 3-day blizzard warning, or multi-day blizzard warning. So that's coming up next. And I'm going to talk about the issue I'm having with the Monster's new batteries. I cut most of my hair off. If I had hair right now, I'd be pulling it out. It's like, argh! Anyway, I'll say that'll be my Tuesday update, April 5th. So, I'll save the rest for that. But I am going to finish by saying, after I got home, nothing had changed on inside. I had nothing to do. I had no light source. I have my little flashlights, but they don't last very long. I have my overhead, miner's headlight, whatever. But I put that on and decided to go for a walk. And nothing else to do. I've exhausted the battery power in the Monster, so I had to go for a walk. Take a chance on wearing myself out. So I went up to the soccer field and sat down by the river for a while. Now one of the fallen trees there, it's got multi-trunks on it. I sat on one trunk and leaned back against the other. It was a nice backrest. It was really comfortable sitting there. I sat there for a while. And when it was time to leave, I tried to decide, do I want to try Timmy's again? Because at this point there's no street lights out there, so I couldn't, well there's one, but I don't know if it's on the same circuit or not. So I couldn't tell if the power had come back on or not fully. So I decided, okay, I'm going to take a walk down the highway and see if Timmy's is open yet. So I part way down there, and it looked like Tim Hortons' sign was now lit up. But as I got closer, I realized that was McDonald's sign I was seeing, so Timmy still wasn't open. So back home, and shortly after 4 a.m., 4:05 or 4:35, I think it was 4:05, the power went off completely. Just everything just completely dead, total blackout. And just before 5 o'clock, it came back on, and everything was back to normal. So, as they turned the power off to fix whatever needed to be fixed, and turned everything back on, and everything's good to go. So I was kind of concerned. I didn't suffer the way I expected to suffer going for that walk. It really surprised me. I was hurting more within the first couple blocks than I was for the rest of the trip. The back of my legs and my feet were so sore just the first couple blocks, which is normally, what happens if I have to walk to Timmy's, or, when my scooters aren't working. That's normally what I get, within that first few blocks, which is all I do. That's when all the pain starts, because I'm using muscles that I don't normally use anymore. So I was kind of concerned. Next day, no pain. I wasn't 100% totally completely exhausted and sore and rubber-limbed like I expected to be. The only issue I had is I have a sore toe because one of my toenails, it kind of curved downward on the side a little bit, and it dug into the side of my other toe beside it, and it caused it to bleed, which I didn't know. I didn't even feel it until the next day. But then probably, I don't think it was the next day, I think it was the day after that. That's when, now I'm feeling it. Now I'm feeling it. So I think these walks that I'm doing at the park are helping a lot. Just getting some exercise. Because like I say, unless I'm going out often, I'm not really getting out of bed. So And the sleeping schedule I have now, when I wake up, I go out, I go to Timmy's, grab me a coffee, and I'd like to go for a tour, which I'm not able to do right now. And then in the afternoon, like it is today, it's about 12:30 right now. I'm out early actually because I wanted to get this done. And I go out for another tour. Well, another trip to Timmy's. I'll talk about that in the next one. So it's getting me out a couple times. But I do have an idea. I'm going to try to fix the monster steering again myself. I have an idea what I can do. It's going to be a little bit of work, but I don't have the frustration that I had in the autumn with everything going wrong. I got more motivation now. We had a nice taste of warm weather, which is gone right now because we have snow on the ground right now, which you'll see. But it shouldn't last too long. We have a nice double-digit day coming up, which will melt most of it and a lot. But there's more coming. I don't know where these storms are coming from. We got a lot of major storms that are just sweeping across the continent, mostly hitting the States, but you know it's affecting us. So I don't know. At this point, the floor in here is now dry. I'm hoping it stays that way. I need to get something done. Get some work started because the monster needs so much work. I worry so much now about taking it out. The wheel bearings are going snap, crackle, plop. So they're failing now. And there's just so much. And when I got my new batteries, I'll talk about that. I discovered something inside, which possibly may explain error code 7. So, but I wanted to save that because that's kind of next on my list of things that happened the day after the brownout is when I got my batteries, and there's a lot to talk about there, so I want to save that for the next one. So I guess that's all I got. I will leave you with my brownout tour and the fire department transmissions. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and talk to you on Tuesday.
Again, it's for fire alarm sounding 277 Center Street between John and Patrick Street East, North Huron, Wingham Fire. Please respond.
Car 2, Wingham Station. Go ahead, Wingham Station, Car 2. Do you want us to roll ladder 2 to Center Street? Yes, roger that.
Attention, North Huron, Wingham Fire. Please respond to 277 Center Street between John and Patrick Street East for fire alarm sounding. Again, that's 277 Center Street for fire alarm sounding in Wingham. North Huron, Wingham Fire. Please respond. Attention, North Huron Blythe Fire. This is an information page. Wingham Station's responding to 277 Center Street in Wingham for fire alarm sounding, possibly due to a power brownout. Again, information page that Wingham Station's responding 277 Center Street. Time of North Huron page is 12:52:08.
Fire dispatch, North Huron command.
Command, go ahead. Just advise what command you're calling on.
You can show command on Grandview Street has been transferred back to Delta.
Roger, command transferred to Delta on Grandview. It's 12:53:06. Fire dispatch, car 2 call. Fire dispatch, car 2 call. Fire dispatch, North Huron, car 2 call.
dispatch, car 2.
Roger, just yourself is responding to 277 Center Street. I have no other units responding at.
That's negative. Yeah, that's negative, dispatch. I have ladder 2 coming.
Roger that. Full mark ladder 2 responding. It's 12:55 at 19.
Fire dispatch, transferring ladder 2 responding to Center Street. Bravo plus 5 belted.
Roger that. And ladder 2 responding with Bravo plus 5. You're belted. 12:55:39.
Dispatch, you can mark car 2 on scene at 277 Center Street.
Roger, car 2's on scene at 277 Center Street. It's 12:56:13.
Dispatch, ladder 2's on scene.
Roger, ladder 2, you're on scene at 277 Center Street. It's 12:56:27.
Fire dispatch, North Huron ladder 2.
Go ahead, ladder 2.
You can show Bravo in command and mobile at 277 Center Street. We'll be sending in a crew to investigate. Occupants are still in the house. There's nothing showing at this point.
Roger that, ladder 2, I copy, you're on scene. Bravo's in command. And mobile, you're sending in a crew to investigate. Nothing showing. Occupants still inside at this time. 0058.
Fire dispatch, Center Street command.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Center Street command.
You can show crew is enters building to investigate.
Roger, crew entered building to investigate. It's 10306.
Engine 1, car 2. Go ahead, engine 1. Yeah, if you guys are almost wrapped up there, I wouldn't mind the check at this call. Roger that, I believe we're leaving momentarily. Fire dispatch, Grandview command.
Go ahead, command.
You can show problem has been sourced to the wing-wide brownout. Property has been turned back over to the homeowner. Command on Grandview is terminated. Engine 1 will be clearing and responding to Center Street.
Roger that, command. Problem source to Brownout. Property turned over to homeowner. Engine 1 clear. Attending Center Street call. It is 10444.
Fire dispatch, North Huron, engine 1.
Go ahead, engine 1.
You can show engine 1 on scene on the Center Street call.
Roger, engine 1, you're on scene. It's 10750.
Car 2, call command. Go ahead, command. Is it just the smoke detectors going off or the CO detectors? This house is just smoke alarms going off. I can relay 0 readings. Roger that, 0 readings. Fire dispatch, North Huron command, Center Street.
Go ahead, command.
You can show we have investigated the building with the multi-gas stick. At this point in time, we do have 0 readings. We're just continuing on the investigation a little bit.
Roger, zero readings investigating. It's 11143.
Fire dispatch, Northern Command.
Go ahead, command.
We believe we have sourced the issue to the town-wide brownout. We have left a couple smoke alarms with the homeowners. Command is terminated. All units are returning to William Station.
Roger that, command. Source issued a brownout. Smoke alarms left with homeowner. Command terminated. All Wingham units are clear and returning to Hull. It's 12102. Fire dispatch to command.
Go ahead, dispatch, command.
Roger that. I just have another caller advising of issues with their fire alarms due to the brownout on B line. I can go ahead with the details over the air if you'd like.
Yeah, roger that. Page out as normal.
Roger that. Paging now. Attention, North Huron Fire, Wingham Station, North Huron Fire, Wingham. Please respond to 70 Beeline Road. That's 70 Beeline Road. Crossroads of Bach Line and Martha Street. Caller having issues with their fire alarms due to the brownout. Alarms are beeping, no smoke or flames visible. That's 70 Beeline Road, 70 Beeline Road. Issues with fire alarms. First page is 128, March 25th. Attention, North Huron Fire, Wingham, North Huron Fire, Wingham. Please respond to 70 Beeline Road. That's 70 Beeline Road, crossroads of Buck Line and Martha Street. For issues with the fire alarms, no smoke or flame visible. However, alarms are sounding. The lights are dim due to the brownout. 70 Beeline Road for fire alarms sounding. Second page is 129 on March 25th. Attention, North Huron Fire, Blythe Station, North Huron Fire, Blythe. Again, this is an information page only. Wingham's being paged to another fire alarm issue at 70 Beeline Road in Wingham. That's 70 Beeline Road for fire alarm sound. No smoke or flames. Again, Blythe Station. This is information only. On March 25th, it's 1:30.
Fire dispatch, North Huron Car 2.
Go ahead, Car 2.
Page acknowledged for Wingham. I also have crew sitting on ladder 2 if we take another CO alarm because of this brownout.
Roger that, Car 2 acknowledging. You have a crew on ladder 2 for any other calls due to the brownout 1:30:35.
Fire dispatch, North Huron Engine 1 is responding to 70 Beeline Bravo plus 4 building.
That's Roger, Engine 1, responding Bravo plus 4, 1:30:55.
Dispatch car 2 is responding as well.
Roger that, Car 2 responding. 01:31.
Fire dispatch, North Huron Engine 1's on scene. Bravo will be command and mobile.
Roger that. Engine 1, you're on scene. Bravo and command and mobile. 1:32:01.
Fire dispatch, car 2 1.
Roger that, Car 2, you're on scene. 1:32:48.
Fire dispatch, Beeline command.
Go ahead.
We have nothing showing. Have made contact with the homeowner. His power has gone out as well. His one smoke detector is going off. Should have a crew entering the building to investigate.
Roger that, command. I copy. You have nothing showing. You've made contact with the homeowner. Power is out. Smoke detector is going off. Crews entering to investigate. 01:35:45.
Engine 1 call command. 2 is clear.
Roger that, Crew 2, you're clear at 146.52.
Fire dispatch, North Area Command.
Go ahead, Command.
You can show we have 0 readings for the whole structure. It's boiled down to the power outage as well. Home is left with the homeowner. Command is terminated. All units return to Wingham Station.
Roger that, Command. 0 readings through structure, power outage issue, home left with homeowner. Command is terminated. All units are clear and returning at 149.27.
And fire dispatch, could you please download these calls first, please? That's appreciated. Thanks for your help.
Roger that. They are all on your computer awaiting your paperwork arrival. Enjoy the rest of your night.